Good evening and welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you back with us. I am Tom Waters. I'm your host for this evening, and I have such outstanding guests. But my first guest, I want to introduce him, Sonny Leggett, and Sonny Leggett is with Prairie Fire. And for those that don't know anything about Prairie Fire, if you know anything about Front Sight, that's the same location, but a lot of things are different. And that's what Sonny is here to tell us all about. So Sonny, I just want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Waters. Pleasure to be here, and thank you for allowing me to join you today.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you on. And because I was a member of Front Sight, and now I want to be a member of Prairie Fire, so I want you to tell our audience exactly what's going on, your background, how you happen to get there, and just tell us about the leadership of what's going on at Prairie Fire.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for having us here. It's a pleasure to be to tell you about Prairie Fire. You know, Prairie Fire is a magnificent destination, just 10 minutes outside of Pahrump, 45 minutes outside of Las Vegas. That it offers special operations inspired challenges that really are unique to anything you've ever seen in the outdoor and shooting community. Full of fun and smiles, elevates the bonds of friendship, the power of teamwork, the discovery of leadership, the strength of extreme trust, all in just in a magnificent setting that allows us to really have the best day of shooting of our life.
That's beautiful. Now, I do have to ask this question, and I'm sure some of the people that are watching are asking the same thing. For the ages, how young can you be and how old can you be and still participate with Prairie Fire?
Absolutely. So you can be as young as, for the ropes and rappel courses, as young as 5, as long as you have a guardian or a parent on campus. For the shooting experiences, the age of 8 and up, with a parent or guardian on campus. And really it's for all ages, all skill levels, whether you're new to the shooting community or you've done it before but you need to brush up on those fundamentals. We have something to offer for all of those experience levels and newcomers.
Okay, now I know some of the people have their own firearms and some do not. What can you help them with in those regards?
Yeah, you're definitely allowed to bring your own firearms for the experiences. We do have some competitions where we stipulate that for those competitions you have to use the firearms that are provided for them to have an even playing field across the board. But for coming out, and whether it's for open range shooting or to learn how to properly use your own firearm, we encourage you to bring those out there. We can do pistol, carbine, we have archery, we have long range precision fire platforms, so you can shoot up to a mile, and we'll talk more about that. So yes, you can bring it out there. There are some restrictions on ammunition as well, depending on what platform you're shooting, and we'll talk about more of that as we go along.
That sounds great. Now, to have all this put together for Prairie Fire, you've got to have some individuals that know what they're talking about.
That's right.
So in the leadership area, who do you have out there besides yourself?
Yeah, so we've really pulled together an incredible leadership team that really guides Prairie Fire and our mission, starting from our executive chairman, General retired Scott Miller, and
Army,
and throughout. He's a retired Army general, 38 years of service.
Wow.
His pedigree is really unmatched, from not just his special operations background, but also his leadership skills throughout. A little bit about his background. So he was the ground force commander in special operations for something that your audience will probably be familiar with. It was later cataloged in Black Hawk Down. So in Mogadishu in Somalia, he was the ground force commander for that.
Wow, okay.
He's commanded special operations forces detachments. He's commanded joint special operations, and he was the final NATO commander in Afghanistan for 3 years, with over 20 overseas service bars, which, as you know as a veteran, that means he's done over 10 years in combat.
Absolutely.
Which is unheard of.
Now, I do have to ask this question. He's a retired 4-star general, and you get to call him Scott.
Yeah, so I've worked with Scott for many, many years, and it was a change in vernacular to lay down the service uniform and to pick up a now civilian posture, and transitioning with that was Scott. And
Yes.
he does prefer that because he's no longer in the military, and he's just an incredible leader, a incredible friend, and we're really honored to have him as a leadership of our team.
And I have to say that too, because when I met him and he introduced himself as Scott, and I'm thinking, you're a 4-star general. And as a retired lieutenant colonel, I'm thinking, yes, I want to say sir. He said, no, just call me Scott. I'm thinking, this is a fantastic, outstanding individual.
That's right.
And to have the leadership out there and the people that he's brought on as well, including yourself.
Well, thank you for that. Before I talk about myself, I'll mention our CEO, Major General retired Mark O'Neill.
Okay.
Also, 33 years of military service. Also commanded Special Forces operational detachments. His final assignment was as the commanding general for the Army Alaska Command.
Wow.
And just an incredible leader, coach, who really believes in investing in people, and he brings those skills and that attribute to Prairie Fire. And so we're honored to have him on our team.
That's great. Okay.
Another individual that I certainly think your audience will be interested in is Lanny Barnes. So Lanny is our Chief Experience Officer. She's a 3-time Olympic biathlete.
Yes. Now you have to explain to some people exactly what that is.
So the biathlon is the sport where you cross-country ski for, various durations of distance, and then in the middle of that, you pause to shoot targets.
Yes.
At, again, varying distances. Incredibly difficult because you've got to control your breathing, your heart rate, and it's for time. And so she is an incredible athlete, an incredibly gifted shooter. She's also a multi-time world and national discipline champion in multiple disciplines, from shotgun to 3-gun, and in fact, she's currently the reigning world shotgun champion, women's shotgun champion.
Now I have to say that because I had a chance to meet Lanny, and I introduced her to the Pahrump Valley Rotary Club as Annie Oakley. So Lanny Oakley, Annie Oakley, for those older generation that remember Annie Oakley, this is Lanny, and just a fantastic individual, just as you stated.
Yeah, and beyond her prowess for shooting, she's just an incredibly giving individual who really devotes a lot of her personal time with her sister, her twin sister, who is also an Olympic biathlete, to charitable organizations, to improving life for underprivileged individuals, and then she's also very devoted to empowering women. And so she teaches a couple of women's only courses out at Prairie Fire dedicated towards women who want to learn how for the first time to shoot a firearm or to advance their skills. And in fact, she also offers for those who don't want to learn how to shoot but still want to learn how to be empowered and be safe. Yep. She teaches flashlight safety courses and things of that nature that really demonstrate her commitment to empowering women.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, and now you haven't said a whole lot about yourself.
Yeah, so I am a retired Army colonel, 26 years in the service. I was a public affairs specialist, so a spokesperson for the military. I worked Joint Special Operations commands, deployed multiple times throughout my career to Afghanistan, Iraq, and other locations. And for the last 2.5 years, I was General Miller, now Scott, spokesperson and communications advisor in Afghanistan.
Okay, now when we were talking before, earlier, you mentioned how long and how much time you spent in Afghanistan.
Yeah, so just in Afghanistan, I have over 7 years in Afghanistan, multiple deployments with various commands and formations, really committed to that mission and to the purpose behind it, which is protecting and safeguarding national security interests for the United States and our allies, protecting the homeland. Very proud of my service for that, and all of those of us who were committed to that.
Well, I want to say thank you for your service, because I know how tough it was in a lot of the areas that you have served in.
Thank you.
So we want to thank him for that. We want to thank everybody that worked with Prairie Fire. Now, he's given you some ideas of the leadership that they have out there. So they've got the strong backgrounds. All they need now are for supporters from our community, like you, to come out and say, I want to be a part of this Prairie Fire. I want to know more about it. And I know in our next session, we're going to go into that and give you a lot more information. But I wanted to make sure you understood the leadership, what they're looking at, what they're trying to accomplish. This is not front sight. It's the same area as front sight. It's the same firing range as front sight, but they have a whole new mission. And that's what it's all about. And that's what you need to learn all about today.
Thank you for that, Tom. Yeah, I mean, we're really committed to, we're unabashedly proud about our American heritage and our American values, and we're really building something that is completely unique. It is really a state-of-the-art facility that offers not just your traditional shooting facilities, but we've developed special operations inspired challenges that will push you through learning your basic skills and advance through that, because through that becomes personal growth.
Yeah. This is what it's all about. And this is why Sonny is here today, because he wanted to make sure that we get this word out to you to say, find out more about Prairie Fire. You look it up. He's given you a lot of information. He's going to give you a lot more in the second session. So come back and join us and learn more about Prairie Fire. Welcome back. We're so glad to have you back with us. I still have Sonny Leggett. He is the Chief Communications Officer for Prairie Fire. And we've explained to you what Prairie Fire is all about. How you can become a part of it is where we're going to be getting into. And Sonny also has a lot of information about what they're doing and what they're planning for Prairie Fire.
Thank you for that, Tom. At Prairie Fire, we talk about the triad, and the triad is our series of instructional aspects. So it begins with Fundamentals Matter, goes through our gunslinger challenges, and then at the base of it is Beyond the Gun. And I'll talk you through that just a little bit. So fundamentals matter, whether you're a special operations military operator, an Olympic athlete, a first responder, a teacher, you always start with the basic skills.
Absolutely.
You learn that foundational skill and you come back to it over time, because it always serves us well to sharpen those and maintain our proficiency at those basic skills. So Fundamentals Matter is our introduction courses for both foundational courses for pistol, for carbine, for shotgun and archery. We have those skills out there. Then we have the Gunslinger Challenges. And Gunslinger Challenges is pulling those basic skills together in an environment that allows you to really advance your understanding of it. Underneath that, we do have advanced courses, developmental and applied courses, but we also have our Gunslinger Challenges, which are exceptionally fun. You can run and gun through Gunslinger Canyon, which, as you know, out here, the canyons are absolutely majestic, and you can run and wind through the canyons, engaging targets that are arrayed through the canyon with your pistol and your carbine at various distances. The pinging of the steel echoes throughout the canyon, and it's really just an inspiring set of challenges to go through. We also have our Gunslinger 1 Mile Challenge, so we can shoot up to a mile out there.
Wow. Okay.
Our current platforms are the 338 Lapua, but you can, if you have something else that can reach that far, you can bring your own weapon out there or your own firearm out there to shoot it. But that is a bucket list item that you won't find anywhere else in the state of Nevada and very few places across the country have the ability to host that on their campuses. We also have the 5-stand course. So for those of you who want to learn how to shoot sporting clays, that offers a very intimate setting for 5 people to come out and shoot together. You can be less than 5, but it'll hold up to 5 to really understand how to shoot sporting clays. It's a lot of fun. We can shoot it at night as well.
Wow, okay.
With black lights, the clays light up at night, and that's a heck of a lot of fun watching the clays blow up.
Oh, this is fantastic. Let me ask the question, though. I know when you said that, this is something that's not all over the country. Do you have other agencies, FBI, CIA, and others, come out and train?
We do have other agencies, local police, local federal agencies that are regional here are coming out to also do some training out there at the facility. Okay. We can host any of those groups and facilitate their training to the degree that is something that fits within ours, or we can allow them to come out and do their training on their own.
I like the fact that you said earlier that it's anybody, mom, pop, anybody can come out and learn because you start at the basics.
That's right. It really is. We talked about this before that off the air, that gun ownership in the United States continues to grow. 16 million gun owners or sales per year, roughly, of which 30% are new gun owners. Okay. And that is a growing population. And so whether you are experienced in shooting firearms or you've never done it, we can teach you from any level of skill how to safely and properly utilize what is a tool, which is a gun, and employ it effectively.
If you're handicapped in some way, wheelchair bound, do you have any training for that?
Yeah, and we can tailor the courses to your level of capability and experience.
This is what Prairie Fire is all about. And you've heard earlier in the last session the type of leadership that they have out there, the people that they have leading all of this and creating all of this. All you have to do now is come out and find out more about it. So if you look at the website and find out more about it, you can always call and say, look, I'm interested in finding out more. And you can always ask for Sonny, because he's going to be there and he'll answer some of your questions for you.
That's right. And we have an incredible leadership team that is completely invested in this, whether it's our CEO, Mark O'Neill, again, who has a special operations background, our chief experience officer, our chief training officer, who we did not speak about, retired Master Chief Hans Hansen, who was a Navy SEAL, has helped develop these training courses, the curriculum, and helped develop the offerings for the Gunslinger Challenges. And this is the type and the caliber of individual who's invested in your growth and your learning as you come out here to understand how to properly, safely, and effectively use your firearm.
Okay. This is something, again, I'm extremely interested, and I hope we piqued your interest as well, as I expect the phones to start ringing and the website to show all the hits that are coming in, because all of you should be interested in exactly what Sonny is talking about today. When you think about Prairie Fire, think about something that it's going to be a unique experience, something that you're looking forward to, and some way that you can use if you have your firearm, okay, or if you're just learning about firearms, it's okay. I think you also mentioned about first responders and anybody else that just want to come out and get some training.
That's right. And, we talked about you don't actually have to have your own firearm. So we have the ability to provide firearms for any of these courses or experiences, you can come out. Say you're in the market to buy your first firearm and you want to know what firearm best fits me and my capability. We have a whole host of those out there from various makes and models to where you can try those out and see which one fits you best, fits your capabilities, fits your requirements, and then make sure that you're properly trained on how to effectively use that firearm. And so, and we also discussed the previous front sight. We certainly would invite all those previous front sight members to please come out and check us out. You know, we are excited about the future that Prairie Fire holds. We value those individuals who, you know, really are committed to this industry and the shooting sports industry. And so we'd welcome you to come back out. You'll find most of the people that you used to know out there are still out there. We retained our current staff. Over 66% of our current staff is still former employees were employees of Front Sight. We value their professionalism, their capabilities, and their dedication, and we're excited to have them on our team.
You mentioned too about the people that work for Prairie Fire living in the area. How many live in Pahrump versus Las Vegas, or just in the area? Yeah,
most of our current workforce actually lives in the Nye County, Pahrump area. So about 70% live in Nye County. And we're incredibly grateful to have that workforce. We didn't mention some new upcoming aspects of it. So we're going to break ground this summer on a 50,000 square foot clubhouse, which is going to be an absolute amazing offer. And I think it'll be something that the entire community will certainly appreciate. With that will also come additional workforce that we're going to have to require to maintain and to staff it. And so we're excited about the growth of Prairie Fire, and we look forward to working and continue to work with Nye County and Pahrump as we grow out that workforce.
Let me say too that since we've expanded this show, so it shows a lot in Clark County and a lot in Nye County. So all of you that are in Clark County, hey, you're more than welcome to come on over anytime. And those in Nye County, of course, you're already here. So Prairie Fire is here for all of us. And so come out, make use of it. Don't let it go to waste.
That's right. And we talked about coming out. We have a lot of different events coming out throughout the year. One of the things that's coming up in the near term, on April the 27th, we will have a members appreciation event with the U.S. Concealed Carry Association, USCCA, to offer some of their capabilities. So for those who are interested in their concealed carry permits and those types of educational opportunities, we have that. We also do events around those times that really touch the American spirit. So Memorial Day, we'll hold a 5K. You say, hold on a second, why are you talking about a 5K at Prairie Fire? That's exactly right, because we talked about it Beyond the Gun. Beyond the Gun is continuing to learn, continuing to grow. We like to think that we're still as young and spry as we were.
Yes.
But it's about maintaining that level of fitness and maintaining that drive to continue to learn throughout your years.
Absolutely, yes.
And then I'm excited to announce that in October we'll actually hold our first national SWAT competition. And so that more details will be coming on that soon, but we're really excited to really put Prairie Fire and the community on the national map in really a national competition for the first time.
So I'm hoping you're writing all this down, but if not, if you didn't write it down, if you forgot to write any of it down, be sure to go to the website. Go to the website and find out exactly what's going on and be a part of it, because they're here for you. And Sonny, is there anything else in the last few seconds that we have?
Just that we're excited for the trajectory of Prairie Fire. We appreciate the time to come on here, and we appreciate the County of Nye, the citizens of Pahrump for their support, and we look forward to seeing you out at Prairie Fire in the near future for the best day of shooting of your life.
So come on out and enjoy this. This is Prairie Fire. They're growing. They're looking for all the previous members that have been out there. Come out and join us, and we want to thank Sonny for being here today. Welcome back. We're so glad to have you back with us. And I have a new guest, and this guest is going to be telling us all about veterans, homeless, incarcerated, and he's got a lot of things to talk about. This is Ed Bevilacqua.
Close.
Close enough.
Yeah,
Ed, I'm going to let you pronounce your last name for everybody.
My last name is pronounced Bevilacqua.
Bevilacqua.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, right?
Okay.
Once you know it, once you
know it, you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just stick with Ed, and I'm sure you'll do the same. Mm-hmm. But I want you to go ahead and be sure to write down all the things that Ed is going to be talking about, because this is so important for homeless. It's so important for just getting your life together.
Yeah.
And Ed is the man. I met Ed some time ago, and one of the things that I found out was his compassion for humanity. And being compassionate, I wanted to know more about his background, so I'm going to ask him to tell you about his background so you can get exactly the impression that I got when I first met Ed. So Ed, what is your background?
Wow, that's, what do I have, like 30 seconds?
Hey!
Thank you very much, Tom. And watching the previous segment, this show is really a service to the community.
Well, thank you.
My background relative to veterans, I'm not a veteran, but I have a daughter that's in the Navy, but she's stationed at Fort Bragg with the Special Operations Command. And she's currently in active duty in the Gulf somewhere. She won't say where. She's a 35 Mike.
Okay.
And she's been in for about 7 years. She's now up for E7.
Okay.
So that's pretty good, right?
Yes.
That's a good fast
Very
track.
Good.
I have a son that was in the Army as a 35 Mike. He was stationed at Fort Shafter in Hawaii. I have a son-in-law who was an Army sniper in Afghanistan. And like many guys that came back from Afghanistan that were active duty, Restrepo, PTSD. Yeah. And so, living with and through that with him. And I have a future son-in-law who was also in the Navy.
Wow.
My daughter and my future son-in-law were on the Stennis. And you mentioned Senator Stennis.
Yes.
So she was on the aircraft carrier Stennis.
Okay.
So, so the project that we're talking about is called Fort Freedom, and it's for veterans who are 100% service connected.
Okay.
That currently are living typically in Las Vegas in a typically not good motel, in a not good part of town. And if you're a veteran and you're 100% service connected, you're disabled, you should not be living in that kind of situation. So this project is called Thriving Warrior, and it's to help veterans have a lifestyle that they deserve. And so imagine you're a veteran, you're getting $4,000 a month for the rest of your life. You don't have to worry about anything. You have a fiduciary that pays your bills, and they give you an allowance of $400 a week. But you're living in a bad place, and that bad place attracts drug dealers, prostitutes, things like that.
Okay.
And the sad part about these guys typically is because they know they're going to get $400 a week, their attitude is, oh, I got $400, I'm going to get another $400 next week and another $400 next week. And what we normally experience as us people out here that have to go to work, have to do these things, or we worked and we retired, their life is completely different and they don't really have a lot of structure and support. So What I do, my background is basically I look for people who have vision and I try to support them. You're one of the guys here locally that has a vision for the future. I don't really have vision. I just support people who have vision. I'm pretty good at, that person, like Kathy McKenna, right?
Yes,
vision.
definitely.
Kathy McKenna has vision, and I do everything I can to support her. She says, hey, Ed, what do you think about this? I said, just tell me what to do, Kathy. And the same thing here with you when you gave me the opportunity. What are you doing on April 9th? What are you doing? And whatever you want me to do, Tom.
Okay.
We have Dr. Linden, who's a psychiatrist down in Las Vegas, who has tremendous vision, and he's willing to put his money where his mouth is.
Okay.
Up here recently, he bought a new property right next to Rubicalva's. It's 4, I guess, condominiums, right on townhouses, I don't know, but 4 units that are attached, paid, $300,000 each, $1.2 million
Wow.
for housing. For 100% service-connected veterans. These are brand new. When people go through this, everybody who's gone through says, this is nicer than where I live. And so it takes tremendous vision to be able to see this is, and as a psychiatrist, it helps, right? To be able to see this kind of lifestyle for these people, veterans, 100% service-connected veterans. This is the kind of thing we need to do. And then other people with vision, the guys from Boxable, built in North Las Vegas.
Boxable, yes.
Yeah, it's a high tech. It's the Ferrari of small homes, less than 400 square feet. But if you go inside, I guarantee you would say, I would live in this. I would live in this. So Boxable's bought into the vision. We have Jeff Lepore, who's a big developer down in Las Vegas, who now is trying to work through the thing up here of getting through the system to be able to put a community together called Fort Freedom, which is 80 to 100 veterans in their own homes that they can own. Now, somebody has complained that, well, I don't think the value is good. It's better than leasing an old apartment building, an old motel room that's converted that doesn't really have a kitchen, it has a kitchenette. And the former mayor of North Las Vegas, John Lee, who's running for Congress, include the 4th district. So that includes Pahrump.
Okay.
John Lee is now helping to guide this project through. And when he was the mayor of North Las Vegas, he was very instrumental in turning that city around in the past. So people with vision. It's all just people with vision.
Okay. Now, where is this Fort Freedom located?
Well, that's the question. that's the question. Every time we find a place, it's, the people that we need to get the approvals from are like, well, we don't like that. So we're looking.
Still looking,
and that's part of, I think it's a communication problem, because what I've observed, and as a doctor you might please correct me, but sometimes people with vision have a hard time communicating with people who are just trying to put the boxes
Absolutely.
in the holes.
Absolutely.
And so it's like,
and that's not rare. That's the way it is.
Yeah, and so we kind of believe that John Lee, Mayor Lee, has the ability, because he had to do it as mayor.
Okay.
He faced these problems, right? I see the vision, and I also see, here's the rules.
Yeah.
Here's what you have to do. So we're looking for places. We have places we've identified, and I support vision. So I'm not on either. I don't see it either way, right? I don't see it as the guy who says, here's the boxes you need to check. I can't see it that way, but I also don't have the vision to be able to do it. So I don't know. We're looking for places, but it's. I think it would be about a 5-acre parcel.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get that, then you've got that. I did want to clarify one other thing, and some veterans will probably hear what you said when you said 100% for veterans. but we're talking about not just service-connected, but service-connected disabilities.
Yes, right.
And those are the ones that are getting the funding that Ed is talking about.
Yeah, that's the target. But, and I don't know what the numbers are, we work with the VA hospital down in Las Vegas, and most veterans are not 100% service connected.
That's correct.
And I don't know, do you know what the typical rating is? Is it like less than 50%?
Well, probably about, the average is about 70.
Okay. So we know that there's more of those people.
Yes.
But it's like the first one you do, you want to try to get the first one as the easiest one, right? Instead of solving all the problems of the world the first time. It's like, well, let's solve the problems we can solve the first time through. And then when we get a little bit more vision and we get a little bit more experience, then we can build on that. That's the idea.
Now, when you talk about the fact that you're looking for 100% service-connected disabilities, how many, I'm sure you have a list. And once you have a list, most of these people are pretty well situated as far as having a home or an apartment, and they're doing okay. Now, the area that you were talking about where they're in, where it's infested with areas that you don't want to be in, hopefully we don't have 100% service-connected veterans in those areas. Are those are the ones that you're really looking for first, is that correct?
Well, okay, so that's a good question, and it's a multi-tiered question. So kind of the idea is if we can move the veterans who can move out of those places to someplace else, now there's vacancies for the guys that have less resources. So like the homeless veterans, the ones that US Vets that has money for, but they don't have housing.
Okay.
So if you go to US Vets down on Bonanza, they'll have 4 veterans in a room with 2 bunk beds. That's not good. That's not right. It shouldn't be that way. But they don't have housing. So if we can get the people out who can get out, and there's over 1,000 of them.
Okay.
If we can get those out, we can move the people from the 4 people in one motel room to the other places. And then we can move the people who are on the streets that need treatment, that need help. We can move those people into US Vets and Veterans Village and those other facilities.
Now, I hope everybody is listening to exactly what Ed is saying, because it is so important that we find places for veterans. And it's been said over and over and over that we just don't have enough housing. And if we don't have the housing, we can't place them. And this is what Ed is trying to create. So I want you to come back in our next session, because Ed has more information on exactly how we can accomplish this. But we've got to all work together to make sure we're doing something for veterans. So come back and join us. Welcome back for our final session. I hate to see these final sessions come, because that means that the show is coming to an end, but hopefully we've gotten all the information out that you need to receive. Again, I have Ed Bevilacqua, and he's here, and he's talking about homes for veterans, and there's just so many other things that he's covering. So I'm going to ask Ed again to let you know exactly what it is he's trying to accomplish, but he needs your support. He needs your support to look at this, because he's got the vision, he knows what we need, and we need homes for veterans. And not just for veterans, we need homes for a lot of people. You have youngsters, I say young people, 30 and under, that are working and doing a lot of things as far as working at Burger King and all the other restaurants, but they don't have places to live. They're staying with parents or something else because they don't have places. And this would open up places for people to be able to have their own homes, and at the same time serve Pahrump, Nye County, Clark County, other areas. But right here in Nye County is where we need this. So I'm going to turn it back over to Ed and let him explain to you exactly what's needed and how you can help.
Thank you again, Tom. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. We finished last time talking about veteran housing, and then then there's the other group of veterans who don't have housing.
Yes.
And so part of the project, the program, the mission is to make sure all veterans are housed. Now, I already know some people are saying, well, some people like being homeless. Okay, that's a small number of people. Most people, very few people actually like living in a trailer that has no water, no power, no sewer. Most people don't like that.
Yes.
And the people who do like that, they need somebody like Dr. Linden, because you shouldn't have to live that way. In fact, I don't think you can legally live that way. So back in 2012, we started helping people in prison get out of prison in Nevada. So people, while they're in prison, get out of prison and stay out of prison. And we are an education company. That's what we really do. We give people education. But it turns out you can't educate people if they don't have a place to stay.
True.
Right? If they're couch surfing, they just really don't go to school.
That's correct.
And then they need food, and they need clothing, and they need IDs, and they need all of this stuff. So over the since 2012, we started by helping just people coming out of prison. And that's kind of a binary thing. It's either people are like, yeah, good, helping people come out of prison, or people are like, I don't care, people who should never get out of prison. And regardless of the value judgment on that, 96% of people come out of prison alive. So they're going to come out of prison, they're going to come into our communities, and if we don't help them get the skills that are needed to get jobs, all that's left is crime and drug use.
Yep.
And that's kind of our problem. That's the problem we're facing. So we started with that, and we had classrooms in the women's prison and 2 men's prisons in Nevada. When COVID hit, we had to switch to a correspondence course model, so we went from 90 students to 700 students.
Wow.
Helping 300 people get out of prison per year. And
now you have a motto. I like your motto. Repeat that for them.
The motto?
We help people leave their past behind.
Oh yeah, we help people leave their past behind for good.
For good.
Yeah.
I love that.
And that is, well, see, most people don't get it. I put it in brackets. It's like, they don't get that you could look at it either way, like for good or for good. And they're never going back. But that has been our mission. But then the Air Force came along, AFWorks, down in Las Vegas at the Howard Hughes Center. One of the guys on our board ran AFWorks. And he said, we created this program called Thriving Warrior to help veterans.
Okay.
He said, and this goes back a few years, said in the year 2020, he said the Air Force has about the same number of people as Amazon. He said in the year 2020, 170 Amazon employees committed suicide.
Wow.
No, he didn't say that. He said in 2020, 170 active duty Air Force people committed suicide.
Yes.
He said if 170 people from Amazon committed suicide, that would be front page news all over the world.
Definitely.
But it was the Air Force, and nobody even knows.
Yes.
So AFWorks created a project called Thriving Warrior, which was app-based, cell phone app-based. And for one reason or another didn't get launched, but they said, we'll license you everything we did and the name Thriving Warrior if you will pick up the ball to help veterans. And somebody had vision, so I said, okay, we'll do it. And that's where Fort Freedom then spun off as a housing thing specifically designed for veterans. Recently, the state of Nevada has come to us, Department DWSS, to say, you know what, we figured out too many people go back to jail too often.
Okay.
And they've known this, but they've tried to treat it from a point of view of substance use disorder and behavioral health. DWSS is involved in jobs. And they said, well, you know, we can treat substance use disorder, we can treat mental health, but if people aren't working, what are they going to do? They're going to go back to that because they're not going to have meaning and purpose in their life. So they created a project to go into the rural jails of Nevada, so not Clark, not Washoe, but Henderson is included in Boulder City. And so they created a project to go into the rural jails. It's called Sharpen the Saw, STS. Diana Stater and Kim Riggs are the state people on this that they have the vision. I'm just the guy that's, okay, I'll do it. So they have a vision, and the idea is you start and sharpen the saw not more than 90 days till you get out. So if you have longer than 90 days, you can't start till the last 90 days. And you have to do stuff. And it includes an hour of Bible study a day. If you graduate from that, when you get out, now you get in housing. And you have all of the things, and you're going to school. And if you complete that within 90 days, phase 2, well, basic training, this is now journeyman. You complete the journeyman, then they will send you to trade school in Las Vegas. So this is for welding, plumbing, real trade school. So not flagger, they might have flagging, but not that, not CDL, jobs that we need for growth in our community.
Okay.
And then the people can go stay in Vegas, move on, come back here, but they will be people who are actually employable at livable wage jobs.
Great, okay.
And again, Dr. Linden is the key guy with the vision, with their vision. And so he will be doing the mental health part while they are incarcerated in substance use disorder. So it's not like, okay, now we're going to let you out of jail. Go, by the way, you need to go to this place here, or you need to find this. And it's too hard for people that when you're out, you're scrambling, you have no money, and we don't have resources here. And if you're on probation from jail, you can't just go to Vegas. You can't say, well, I'm moving to Vegas. You have to get permission, and it's really complex. So we keep arresting the same people over and over. And what would you think a typical number of times somebody is arrested that goes to jail is? What would you think it is?
The number of times?
That a person that goes to jail actually goes to jail. How many times does a person who's been to jail once typically go to jail?
I'd say 3 or 4.
Okay, so it's typically more than 10, and then you have people who have gone to jail 20, 50 times.
Wow.
Never going to prison. They just keep going to jail because when you get out, you're in this hole. Every time you go back, the hole is deeper and steeper to climb out of. So this Sharpen the Saw program is designed for people who, when they get out of jail, they don't have anywhere. Another case would be we work with the specialty courts in Las Vegas. One is mental health court. And we have a woman with us now who was a shopping cart lady for 6 years. She keeps getting arrested. They put her in jail. They let her go because she did her time. Well, where is she going to go?
Back to her cart.
She gets another. So the last time she got arrested for having a Walmart shopping cart, stealing, Walmart property. She tried to explain to the officer, the Walmart is 5 miles away. I found this in the alley. He said, I talked to her caseworker, and he said, the cops might think we're arresting her for her own safety, that we don't want a 65-year-old woman who weighs 98 pounds out on the streets of Las Vegas at night, but we're not really a hotel. We're not designed for that, and it costs about almost $1,000 a week to keep somebody in jail down at the Clark County Detention Center. So we have this woman, and the idea, and before they'd put her in homes in Vegas, but these people, right, fight, right? Somebody says something you don't like, you have to respond. and so then they just leave the house, right? In the middle of the night, okay, I don't have to put up with this. I was happy about being out on the street. This living with the community of people doesn't work. So the idea is, let's try an experiment. Let's bring them up to here, because we have no services here. Let's bring them here, get them the treatment they need, get them stabilized, get them on their meds, do all of the stuff that needs to be done, get them used to living in a house. Then we can move them back to Las Vegas, where we have the support that we can give them. But now, after they're used to living in a house for 60, 90 days, now they bring them back to Vegas, where they have buses and they have all kinds of things that you can do. That now they'll say, well, you know what? Now I know how to live in a house with other people, and I see the benefits of living in a house versus my cardboard condominium in the alley. And that's the experiment that's being tried right now.
What can the people that are watching the show in about 10 seconds do to help you?
Well, we need to have a reframe. Instead of like the homeless, James 1:27 is they're orphans and widows. It's our orphans and widows. And the pit count up here, there's less than 200 people that are called homeless. What we can do is adopt an attitude through our churches of our churches need to do what we can to help, because if you have 127 people who are living out in the desert, that's a thing the churches can do.
Okay.
And that's love thy neighbor.
That's what we are. And we want you to go ahead and be sure to contact contact Ed and let him know, look, I'd like to participate in this. I'd like to be able to help my neighbor. And give him a call. Look at thrivingwarrior.me and see exactly what you can do to help. I want to thank Ed for being on the show this evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Doctor.
And come back and see us.